Hi, my name is Christopher Smith, and I'm a trucking accident attorney in Nashville, Tennessee with DRS Law. And today we're going to look at the insurance requirements in trucking cases and how much insurance a trucking company has to carry to operate and drive on the road, so that if you or a loved one are in an accident, you can know, generally speaking, how much insurance coverage might be available. Let me just say at the outset, if the trucking accident involves a company like a FedEx or UPS or some big company like that that's got major assets, then you don't really need to be so concerned about the amount of insurance coverage available because there are assets behind that company. But unfortunately, a lot of trucking companies are kind of fly-by-night transportation, small little outfits, and they don't have a lot of assets behind them. So insurance money may be the total, pot of money that's out there to recover from. So that's why it's important to know how much money is available by law. It's a little bit like your own car. If you own a car, your state requires you to have insurance to drive, and they require you to have a minimum amount. Those laws are actually different between states in terms of what that amount is. The federal government has set a minimum limit for insurance for all trucking activities that are covered. So let's just take a look quickly at this form. So this is the form that a trucking company has to file with the Motor Carrier Administration. It's the form MCS 90, and it defines the limits. So let's scroll down to that piece. Here you can see $750,000 is the limit for non-hazardous material that's used for hire. Now these are terms of art, both of those, like what is for hire. It's going to be potentially debated in your case, and whether they're required to carry that insurance, or whether that insurance would kick in would depend on the activity of the trucking company, whether it was for hire at the time of the accident. And then non-hazardous versus hazardous material. And you can see there's a huge difference in the coverage between those things. You go from $750,000 for non-hazardous all the way up to between $1 million and $5 million of coverage if the trucking company is transporting so-called hazardous materials, oil-based things, chemicals, that type of thing. There's a long definition in the CFR, which is the Code of Federal Regulations, and we can see here aerosols, all atmospheric gases, all this sort of stuff. But that's going to determine whether the trucking company has to carry $750,000 or $1 million or $5 million of insurance. I should also say this is effective as of January 1st, 1985. Obviously it was almost 40 years ago. If you adjusted that for inflation, I don't know what it would be, but it would be a fraction of whatever this, the purchasing power of $750,000 in 1985 versus now. Significantly reduced. There was some discussion under President Biden's proposed Build Back Better Act to raise this limit. Obviously, that bill didn't pass. And every time that there is some impetus to raise the minimum insurance limits for trucking companies, it tends to be a pushback from lobbyists. Businesses don't like having to have insurance, and they certainly don't want to have to carry more than they're used to carrying. But that's sort of perennially been a topic now, is that this limit might be inadequate given that trucking accidents tend to involve fatalities or severe injuries and multiple people. And if it's $750,000 to go around, that's grossly inadequate. Now, if you might get lucky in the sense that the trucking company that crosses the center line and causes the accident could be transporting a hazardous material and carry $5 million of insurance, but that is obviously unlikely. And so a quick rule of thumb that we always tend to use is we just assume that a trucking company will have $750,000 and go from there. And if you happen to get lucky the other way, then that's great. But generally speaking, $750,000 is the limit. So I hope that this video has been helpful and answers that question. If you came to this video, what's the minimum insurance limit that a trucking company has to carry? That's it. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back.